Ah, another beautiful day out in the woods. I dressed my best, guys. Best tank top, best shorts, best shoes. We are gonna go do some dirty work. Let's get it on. All right, Crusty the van is about to get some love. It's been sitting here for a couple of months. Started to work on it, and then it started getting cold. We've been having some days where it got down in the 20s and just kind of pointless to do any kind of paint work. So I just kind of held off because that was kind of what I wanted to do first. So let's reintroduce you to Crusty. Oh yeah, he's a real special guy. This is a 2004 Chevy Express 3500. Has a newer motor in it. It's a 6-liter. It's been rebuilt with better heads. You know, I think it's a L9 or an LQ9 cam, like a little better cam. Pretty heavy duty van, and it's got almost 200,000 miles on it. So what I did was I went along yesterday and just kind of scraped all the flaking paint off of it down to the point where I can see about sanding the rest. This is kind of what it looked like right here. So we're gonna have to do the back here. That's what I'm gonna do today. And then we got this other whole side, which is a total mess, as you can see. This fine Chevy paint, it's just flaking off. There's a whole bunch of these vans out there, probably tens of thousands of these that have done this, that still run perfectly and still get used, and they end up going to the paint shop and getting completely stripped down to the primer or the metal and repainted. And I think it's kind of ridiculous, but I wasn't going to pay. It was going to be $5,000 to take it to a shop and have them do it. So we're going to do it a little cheaper, because this is going to be just kind of a beater van that I use around the farm. And it's also going to be something that I'm going to build like a sort of a mini camper in the back for like a 1 or 2 day trip, where we can go down to the beach and bring some fishing poles and my telescope and just kind of set it up at night and get some good pictures of the Milky Way and stuff. But for now, we got to get it looking presentable, because if I drive around in it like this, we're probably going to get pulled over and thrown in prison. So let's get started. Yeah, we got the right birds for the job. All right, I'm going to start out by using this. We're going to get it primed, and then I'm going to paint it with some kind of Rust-Oleum or cheap paint. And I'm just going to roll it. I'm probably not even going to spray it, because I'm out in the woods where it's dusty and there's pollen, and I don't have a spray booth, and I don't really think it's a big deal. So we're going to get this back end done today, scrape it down, and then we're going to kind of go down the side. And where I've already scraped, I'm going to go down the side there and kind of round off those edges, because what I've found on these vans, this isn't the first one I've seen, is the bottom part of the paint on these from about mid belt line down. Every one I've ever done this to, this is like the 3rd one I've done this to. Every one I've done this to, the bottom part of the paint, about to where I've taken it, isn't too bad. It's not flaking off. It's almost like they got the bottom right, but the rest of the van didn't get painted properly. And the other 2 that I did, we did it the same way. We just rolled Rust-Oleum on them, and basically they haven't had any problems. One of them's about 3 years in, and it looks just fine. You know, it looks kind of raggedy because of the, you know, rolled on Rust-Oleum paint, but the guy's still using it. So we're just gonna get it looking presentable. Because on the back doors here, this was apparently there was a repair done down here. I can kind of see a little whoop-de-doo in the bodywork here where there's some Bondo. So I think both of these doors might have gotten repainted, so I think we might get away with leaving this strip right here and then taking this paint off down to around here and feathering this off. So basically what you want to do is you want to just kind of start off by taking off as much as you can. Don't push down hard on this or it'll dig in. Just kind of get a feel for it. Start nice and easy. Don't try to be a madman and get too much done at once, because it's not going to go fast. And what happens is that moisture gets under here and gets back and separates the paint. This is still on there good. I don't think I'm going to have to do anything but rough this up. But you can see where the moisture's gotten underneath the paint and separated it from the primer. So once you get past that primer like this, to the point where the primer looks right, you can probably go back just a little more and feather that in. And it's going to let you know if you need to do more, because when you're feathering, it's just going to keep flying off. Once it feathers nicely, then you know you can stop there. You can see the paint's sticking pretty good here, so I'm just going to go along and we're going to isolate this line of primer where the paint wanted to come off. My dog's going to go nuts the whole time. So let's just get lazy and do it the right way. You guys see that okay? There we go. All right, how's that? I was going to wear a suit for this, but they're in the cleaners. Now you're saying, why aren't you sanding this? It's coming off a lot faster than if I sanded with a lot less mess. Everything's falling on the ground. I can rake it up. You know, it's just less noisy. I don't have to buy sandpaper. These razor blades are cheap. I got plenty of them for like 10 bucks. And basically I think what this does is it kind of keeps it smooth, so that when I start to do my feathering in there, I don't have any big sanding marks from trying to sand the paint off. So I'm taking off all the loose paint with the scraper for that reason. Now, this is inspired by Pole Barn Garage. If y'all ain't never watched Pole Barn Garage, watch a couple of his videos where he's painting stuff, not the nicer ones. You'll see exactly where I'm coming from. Some cars just aren't worth putting the effort into. You just don't want to look like a total dirtbag going down the road. Now, if you want to look like a dirtbag, just leave it like it is and clear coat over everything. The problem with that is the clear coat won't stick. Once I get to the edges, I'm going to open the door and sand that. I'm just going to take it as close as I can to the door edge. Get as much of that to come off as I can. And whatever's left, I'm going to sand it. And don't worry if you dig in a little bit. You know, we're going to go around, and any spots where we dug in with the scraper over here on the side, I'm going to put a little bit of glazing putty over those. And we're going to paint it with Rust-Oleum, probably farm paint, which is a little thicker. And we're going to roll it, so a lot of that stuff's going to go away when you paint it. Where it's coming off, it wants to keep coming off. As long as that paint's coming off that easy, keep going. Keep going until it's a pain in the ass to get it off. Even going to take this thing off because I'm going to paint it too. We're going to hit it with rust converter primer, and then we're going to paint it. Get a little razor blade and work around this too if you feel that you need to get closer up in there, or if it's just too clumsy to get this, because these blades, once you nick them, they really aren't worth much. So if you're not feeling confident using this around the edges, just get a little razor blade and scrape it. That way you don't damage these nice blades. They're not that expensive, but you're not just going to get these anywhere. You got to order them. Now you can see here's a spot where it's really coming off hard. It's just stuck down good, so get as much of it as you can. And if there's more to get, once you start sanding, it'll start flaking off and you'll be able to go from there. But you can get it all off with the scraper. You'll be glad, because it's a lot less sanding. See, I was able to get that down there by angling the scraper and putting pressure on one end or another. You don't need to use the whole blade all at once. I was told by the Chevy dealer on my first van like this, when it started happening, that they would paint it and charge me for the materials, and the materials were more than the actual Mako, I think it was, wanted to do to paint the whole van. It was about $2,500, and I said, no, that's okay. And I went over that van. I just lightly scraped it. It wasn't much. Did the whole van with, we rolled white house paint on it, and it lasted for about 5 years, then started flaking off again, and then I just sold the van. And the guy I sold it to, he asked for my help about a year later, and we actually sanded it all down, like scraping it like this, and just roughed the edges up, and we rolled on, it was like a bed liner, and it looked great. It was all like a black bed liner. Looked really cool. So I'm still getting a little bit of it here. But it's taking some pressure to get that to come off. But the higher you get, the easier it's going to come off. Once you find the magic angle on this, you'll get quick at it. It'll go a lot faster. Just remember, if you push too hard, you're going to bow the metal in, and it's not going to contact the blade well. Seems like it gets to that belt line. About as far as it wants to go. It seems like the belt line right here, the lower belt line, seems like the paint really stuck, like in this area, but everything else is messed up, and this has definitely been repainted. You can see they didn't prep it properly before they primered it right here, or before they put the base coat on. Got some water underneath the paint. I don't know how long ago that was done. Harder to get off. Yeah, I think because this has been repainted, we're going to probably get a lot of it off. I wouldn't be surprised if they feathered this in down here. It's hard to tell with all the dirt, but looks like they did, because I don't even think there's a clear coat on this part. This has got clear coat on it, and this doesn't. So they feathered this in and clear coated, or they single staged this, clear coated. This was the original clear coat. There's a ding. Let me Wayne, look at that. Now you're saying, why are you doing this, man? That thing's an old van. Anyone who's ever had one of these things are a tank. It's got almost 400 horsepower. This will tow pretty much a 30-foot travel trailer, 25-foot boat. It'll carry thousands and thousands of pounds of stuff. And it's long. It's a passenger van, so it's extra long. You can put sheets of plywood in here. You can put 10-foot boards in here. It makes a perfect farm vehicle for going and picking up stuff. And you know, if you're getting caught in the rain on the way home from the feed store, all your feed's not going to get wet. Now this has a Quadra-Track sticker on it that they all have, and those come right off too. I pull one in and just kind of push that, break that glue. If you want to get another one of those, they sell them on Amazon for about 10 bucks. If you want to make it look stock, it's at Stabilitrack. We don't need traction. Traction is for wimps. More tire spin, the better. Yeah, you can see they didn't even mask this express off really good. They left a lip of paint around it. That's all right. We're gonna make it look worse anyways. The last little bit seems if I come down like this, kind of gets it down there. Just a short little. Yeah, that's single stage. There's no clear coat on that. They painted right over the old paint too, so there is clear coat in it, but it's got single stage over the top of it. I think the damage was right in here and right in here. What do you think? Yeah, see where. Belt line is ground zero. There's 2 layers of paint there. Sticking good over here. As you get higher, it comes off. Alright, when you put these blades on, I like to leave mine sticking out a little bit on that end. You can move that end over just to slide it that way just a bit. That way you're able to get up underneath stuff like this here. This new blade, and we're going to work this corner down as far as we can. See how much better a new blade works. It'll actually start biting into the primer. So what's happening now is the single stage and the clear coat are coming off as one. And it's leaving the base coat on the original paint underneath, which is really down really good. So I'm going to take this clear coat off with the paint that they sprayed on it as far as the single stage. And then I'm going to probably stop there because it's starting to kind of want to, the original base coat is wanting to kind of stay on. You can see the clear coat right here. So this is the original paint, and they started fading the single stage in around here. You can see where it didn't adhere really good up in this area. So there was probably, it looks like the primer's a little different. This area was damaged a little bit probably. Or someone might have broke in and that's why they put that on. So we're just going to take it down to this base coat, and then once I hit it with the sander, if it starts flaking off, I'll take the rest of that off, but if I don't have to, I won't. Make it easy. We don't want to have to paint too much. But you can see that clear coat's coming right off. Easy as pie. You know, as I get higher, the base coat's coming off with it. I don't know why that is. It's almost like they dipped these into a tank or something instead of spraying them. And the bottom part got it first and it stuck better. There we go. I get, the easier it comes off. So you can see this part's staying on pretty good. So I don't want to make too many nicks in it, so I'm going to sand that. I'm going to float that out. Pretty good in this area. This is the center. Blades stick out there. See that? Yeah, stick right up inside there. It's really happened because of the sun. Not so much weather, chemicals in the road. It can handle sun. Not going to give you videos. Just clear coat. So it's called basically the grade is breaking. They wouldn't tell me. That year, I got the dealer. I brought mine in only 5 years old. And they refused to tell me what went wrong with paint. I guess they're afraid to sue. We get to the point where it's not worth repainting. That's pretty sad. They offered to repaint it. You know, $5,000 on it. They offered to repaint it. I would pay it. $2,000. I do that. I had 5 years already. I got $6,000 on it. $5 grand. You also put the small razor blade in the holders that way. You take the big blade out and go over here, right down a little bit. Right, you get it. The battery is just into this thing. Try to get it here. Sand right, that's that. We'll make the guide for later. See, thanks. It's all underneath everything. So it's not here. See right here where there's some water spots where they got water under the paint. Probably painted it on a humid day. And it has a smell to it. I think it might be lacquer. Yeah, it's lacquer. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, you guys. Someone broke into this van and probably pried this and damaged this area right here. Probably came down in here and was prying and denting that and damaged this area, because this is new paint right here, all of this. And I think what happened was they damaged this, they threw the old one out, or maybe this is the old one. I don't see any pry marks on it. It's primered. And then what they did was they just took this off and they reshaped it. There's no Bondo. I thought there was going to be some Bondo, and then they just reshaped the metal a little bit to the best they could, and then they put this back on and repainted it. So this was probably like an insurance job or something. I don't know, maybe a break-in. But yeah, this is all been feathered in right here. And this is the original paint. Right around in here, it turns to lacquer. So they use that lacquer. You can get it like a O'Reilly's or whatever, that Duplicolor, because I can smell it when I'm scraping it. And I think what they did was they did enamel over here, maybe ran out, so they just went and grabbed a can of lacquer and finished this part up. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's any Bondo under this. This is the original primer. All right, let's get the rest of this crap off and call it a day. Woo woo! They hear me talking over here and they want to come have fun. There's 4 German Shepherds. Going to that length with scraping isn't necessary because I can sand that, feather this in. This is all intact. This is all newer paint. So yeah, I think I can feather that in too. So let's take the last little bit right here off this corner. Try to figure out where the factory paint begins. I think right about here. Yeah, it looks like he did this area right here. Feathered this in. This is the factory paint right here. Might have stopped at the top of the emblem. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like he painted under here and left this factory paint on. Oh my goodness! It's feeding time. Mama's over there feeding them. Yep, that's it. Got it right in here. Boom. How about that? Right about there. I masked it over to the emblem like that. Probably masked this and just painted all this. This paint's still really good. Yep, that's right. That's the edge where it gets hard. You can look at that. It's got to get a small little razor blade. Let me take the emblem off. I'll leave that on there. Like I said, this is a farm truck. Just don't want it to look horrible because it sits here parked out in front, you know. Every day you got to come driving up and seeing this ugly thing sitting here is a day where you tell yourself, I'm going to paint that. I'm going to paint that thing soon. So you got to get it done. Little dent right there. Looks like you might have patched a spot right here and tried to fix a dent. The paint's really thick. Man, stuff you guys see when you do this. It's almost like a forensic audit. Who's been under the hood? They just painted right over the dent. Or maybe that dent was put in the original paint. I don't know. These little scratches are no big deal. The high bill primer will fill that. A little bit of glazing putty. Sand the rest of that. Alright, so this is ready for sanding. Yeah, guys. So that's about as far as we got by scraping. And now it's just a matter of feathering in the edges where the good paint is. Got all this side done. Got the back done. Still got to come down here and figure out what I want to do with that. I might not fix it. I might just patch something, screw a piece of metal over it or something. Like I said, farm truck. So this side here, we're going to go ahead and scrape the rest of that down, but I'm not going to make you sit through that. I'll come back when it's time to get the sander out. Alright, we got all the scraping done. It is down to the sanding. You can see I got probably 3/4 of the paint off this thing with that scraper. Woo! Man, that was an elbow grease. That used a lot of elbow grease. Found another repair. The front had a little bit of body work on it, right here and here. No big deal though. Just a little spot putty. The hood was pretty much paint free. I think whoever did the front there painted the whole hood and they did a crappy job because all the paint fell off of that. Now we just got to go over it with the sander. And that will be tomorrow's fun time. Just feather out all the edges. Because whatever paint is on it now is probably going to stay mostly on there. Unless I really get down and dirty on it with 80 grit, and I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in getting that thorough. And then I got a little body work to do here. A little body work to do there. And there was 2 other spots. one right there. This, I think the clip that holds that bumper on there just came off. It seems to be all intact. It's just the clip is broken, so I might just see if I can find another one of those plastic caps in the junkyard. And then over here there was one other spot up at the top, right in the drip edge here, but it's not like all the way through. It's just a surface spot there and there, so I'm just going to sand that, put some rust converter. And then the roof is just solid rust, so I'm going to do 2 layers of Eastwood rust converter on that, and then paint it white with white polyurethane to reflect the heat. That's right, you bark at it. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. You can do it yourself if you have one of these vans. You're not worried about making it all pretty. Get you one of those scrapers and just scrape off all the stuff. And tomorrow I'm going to sand it down, so we'll see how to do that. Hey, if you don't mind, like, share, and subscribe. And throw me a comment if you guys have ever done this or if you see anything I'm missing. And I'll do my best to make it happen. Thanks for watching.